Hey, how's it going? The past few weeks has been fantastic for me as the patch I've been waiting almost a whole year for is finally here. Our favorite fish is now playable in PGR. This is probably my favorite update in PGR, story and all. I feel so satisfied. Wait, what is this? Oh no. I kinda wanna roll for Karenina's idol skin. Oh god, it's so tempting. You know what? To keep my mind away from rolling for a skin in PGR, I'm going to talk about something else. You know what? Let's talk about Wuthering Waves. So, how's the 1.2 update?
I'll be Flame Ranger. You be a psychic being controlled by the monsters.
No way. Why do I always have to be the one getting beat up? I don't want to play the bad guy. We pinky sweared last time, remember? If I don't get to play as Flame Ranger, I'm not playing with you anymore.
Children, am I right? Okay, so 1.2 is actually quite an interesting update, as it sits in a peculiar position given the timing of things. You see, coming off from the 1.1 update, which dramatically improved the game in response to the woes of the 1.0 state of Wuthering Waves, we'd hoped that Crow would keep up the momentum with their W's in hand. And to their credit, they have continued to make improvements on the game as stated from their 1.2 update notice, though it appears things seem to have taken on a different color, so to speak. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's break it all down.
Lady Arbiter, have you heard of the Black Shores? The Black Shores is the starting point of your journey in this world. If you have doubts, this one suggests a visit to that island.
Oh, looks like our next stop is the Black Shores. But first, it's time to party.
Still busy with the preparations?
Almost finished. Crazy here with all these people bustling around. You hear the buzz from our side?
Need to double check the procedure. Did I just see Madam Magistrate? Was it just me?
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to bump into you. I should have just stayed home to avoid causing trouble. Pretty hectic, isn't it?
Wow, this sounds like an exciting festival. Oh, well, ain't that something? I thought there'd be more people. So, I'm going to be honest here. After finishing the story that took place in Mount Firmament, I thought we were pushing the gas pedal all the way to the Black Shores. But I was a little taken aback by the immediate shift towards jumping into a celebration. But hold up, there's a reason behind all of this. You see, in China, there's this holiday called the Mid-Autumn Festival, also known as the Moon Festival, which places value in family gatherings and togetherness, commemorating the whole event with moon viewing and lantern carrying. It's a big deal. Like, seriously, a really big deal. So, for those of us Westerners who thought, hey, this whole festival thing came right out of left field, or those who thought that the free character was just out of nowhere, well, it isn't. Not that it's a bad thing or anything, actually it's great, because what gacha game out there would decide to throw a free 5-star that just debuted in the same patch? I just wanted to explain that there is an actual reason as to why all of this is happening. So, how's the moon chasing festival in Wuthering Waves? Well, let me tell you what I was expecting from this whole thing. If you want to give me a festival, well, give me a whole festival. I want the fanfare and everything. The hype, the crowds, the excitement. I want the entire region of Huanglong to go nuts for this festival. Give me an event that oozes culture from the people of Jinzhou, that parallels the Chinese culture, which resonates to our very core of cultural appreciation, and embrace the festivities. So, did we get all of that? Well, we got a character story and a festival management minigame. When it comes to the story, it's not bad. In fact, it's a fairly decent one, but I mean, I don't know if I set myself up for disappointment. Probably did. Anyway, it really felt odd that this whole festival kind of took place in this tiny town outside of Jinzhou. Not to mention, the festival management minigame was pretty whatever for the most part, but at least we got to see some of our old companions that we met during our short time with the game to see what they're up to during the festival. Comes with a nice mini quest. I mean, can't complain if you get a date with Jinshi, if you know what I mean. Anyway, we'll revisit the whole minigames shenanigans later. So, how is this character story?
I've heard enough!
children, am I right? As I said, it's pretty decent. Bit unexpected for me really, but it's okay. Think about it this way. This story is actually two stories in one. There's the story with the whole Moon Festival deal, then there's Zhang Liao. Although there's more Zhang Liao, which is my only gripe. Okay, I don't know if I should call it a gripe. I just feel like his story kind of overtook the whole festival situation and the festival took a backseat to it all. Or perhaps a better way to put it is that it's more of a backdrop if anything. I do like the dude and the whole story arc behind him, you know, exploring the reasoning behind certain people's troubling wishes, exploring Zhang Liao as a character with this backstory, and the whole thing with the Pascal spectrum theory. I guess it's okay. It just felt very distant from the festival, as if the festival was the plot device rather than the focus. Again, maybe it's my expectations really influencing how I feel about all of this, but it is what it is. I mean, at least you are quite involved with the festival, I think. The odd thing is that the quest line is gated off by the minigame itself, so it plays a part, I guess. Those stalls aren't going to build themselves after all. Though, I should ask, what will happen after this patch, since this story is still somewhat tied to the festival? Will this quest that explores Zhang Liao's backstory and the story behind the Pascal spectrum theory disappear with the festival? If so, we might be facing a Genshin limited time event story situation, and personally, I'm not all about that. Or maybe we're going to pass all of this off as not being important, which I don't think is true because there's some world building elements in that story that adds to the world of Wuthering Waves, or are we downsizing its importance? All of this is giving me some mixed feelings, so we'll see what happens moving forward. But hey, at least Rover has some lines. It's pretty nice to see, so keep that up.
Have more faith in humanity. The hero who pushed the boulder of truth for us all will be remembered, and the bond between people will endure. Because we are here for you, always.
Raise your left paw if you think I should testify, or your right paw if... Wait! You raised your left paw before I even finished my sentence. No, that doesn't count. Let's try again.
Children, am I right? So, the other piece of content that this patch has is the Painter Girl story. Is that she?
Jaja!
Oh, it's Jaja?
Didn't realize you and Jaja knew each other.
Wait, now it's Juju?
Hello, my name is Zhezhi.
Okay, I'll never get this girl's name right, so here's what I'll do. This girl is basically the Wuthering Waves version of Isla, so I'm going to call her Wyla. Problem solved. Anyway, Wyla's story quest is okay. It's not life-changing or anything, but that's fine. What I found interesting is how they began the quest by starting at the end of the quest where you are in court and are recounting the tale of how the whole quest unfolded. Cool narrative shift, but a little confusing on the offset. Aside from that, it's what you'd expect from the character quest. You get to uncover a plot of art forgery and catch a glimpse of the mindset of an artist with their pride and values, exploring the ideals of recognizing and embracing your talents, and you get to know more about Wyla and her backstory and all. And they did a good job in expressing her inner thoughts too. It's pretty fun. But again, nothing groundbreaking. If anything, we all know the drill behind these character quests. It's there to make you at least sort of like the character featured in the quest and possibly roll for that character. Pretty much a mini advertisement to convince you to roll for Wyla. Speaking of which, I will say Wyla is actually fun to play. When I watched her trailers, I thought, oh, this is an easy skip. But this is Wuthering Waves. Sure, maybe the character might not appeal to you, but the gameplay will never let you down. And Wyla's gameplay was what tempted me to almost roll in this banner. Much like how I want to roll for Karenina's idol skin. Wait, all of this had me thinking, it's just a character quest. For the most part, it's either going to hit or it's going to miss. And it's not whether or not a character is going to resonate with you. I mean, it's certainly a factor for sure, but I think it's also whether or not you care. Especially for a gacha game, gameplay can only carry you far enough. At the end of the day, if you don't care for the character, all of this might not even matter at all. Why is this important to point out? Well, that's because if we look at the amount of content we're getting, there doesn't appear to be much here. And from my perspective, a character story quest, especially one that I don't actually care about, might not hold as much weight compared to the other pieces of content that's available. I'll just nod my head and say, that's cool, and move on. It's not like a main story quest or anything of the sort. nor does it seem to want to keep my attention with unique gameplay characteristics specific to the character quest, which, by the way, isn't present in Wyla's character quest. It's just the standard stuff. And this sentiment isn't only for Wyla's case. I'm pretty sure there are some people out there who don't even care about Zhangli Yao's quest at all, which is a large portion of the festival, even though there's some small lore bits in the quest. So basically, most of this really hinges on whether or not you like Zhangli Yao. Sure, we are getting a lot of rewards, but that's another thing entirely. I'm talking about things to do in the update. Speaking of which, okay, let's talk about the whole festival deal. Sure, it's one thing where the festival quest is basically a character quest merged into it, but at the same time, there is a whole festival. So, what can you do in the festival? Well, there's some small minigame stalls, but it's just a small deal really. Actually, there's only a couple. There are also some mini character quests related to the festival where you can interact with some of the characters from the game to see what they're up to during the festival. And then there's the main minigame where you manage the festival by building and upgrading stalls. It's actually a straightforward minigame, but it's pretty grindy and very RNG heavy. So yeah, but hey, for your efforts, since this is the Moon Festival, Kuro decided that they should give us a free 5-star to celebrate. And it's not just any free 5-star, it's a 5-star that's debuting in this update, Zhangli Yao. But I have to say, even though I like Zhangli Yao's character and a bit of his gameplay, I feel like he really gives off some 4-star energy. He's like a budget Lee hyperreal. Even if you put a jacket on his back like a cape, he will never be as cool as Lee. Never. Well, whatever. At least we're getting a free 5-star who is also brand new, so let's say it all together. Genshin could never. But hang on, there's a catch. You see, you can't just log in and boom, you instantly get the character. No. Much like PGR, you have to earn this character. So how do you earn this character? Well, it's quite simple. You just get your popularity level high enough with the festival minigame. People are saying max it out to rank 6, but yeah. And boom, you have the rights to get the character. But here's the thing. This minigame is hella grindy. Not to mention, you're sort of time gated through the minigame currency system where the preparation credits, which are the currency you use to be able to play the minigame, can be refilled for only once a day. So for the most part, if you start from the very beginning, it's not much of a big deal because you click buttons, see the bar go up, and move on with your day. But yeah, still grindy and honestly uninteresting. That said, Zhangli Yao will not be immediately available. He'll be available in the latter half of the update, which is just in time for the real life Moon Festival. And either way, a limited character like him being free is not something we should miss out on. After all, free is free, right? Right? Somehow all of this hits real different, especially coming off from a patch where Elisa Echo from PGR debuted and was also being offered for free, in addition to obtaining a really good skin for her that is also free. Sure, that was because this patch was celebrating the 3rd anniversary of PGR, but honestly, for some reason, it hits different compared to Zhangli Yao being free. I can only speculate. Maybe it's because we all knew ahead of time through the power of clairvoyance as a global player that we're able to get Elisa for free through the Dorn commission system, or that we knew that she is the meta amplifier unit for the physical team. That might be it. Perhaps I'll use Zhangli Yao as much as I use Dr. Ratio, which is almost never. Or maybe it's because Elisa is a female. That could be it. Real quick, we should also talk about the other stuff that's being featured in this update. Aside from the festival quest and the character quest, or depending on how you look at it, 2 character quests, there are other small pieces of content to do in 1.2. We have a new exploration quest which takes us to a new area hidden beneath Mount Firmament. It's a very short and sweet exploration quest with a cool time stop mechanic. Not to be confused with time stop calculation, it just freezes things, that's all. Unlike the other exploration quests, this one's really short, and that's not a complaint. Actually, it's a compliment, since it did exactly what it set out to do. Introduce a new area, have new puzzles, and have you play with a new mechanic. Comes with a sprinkle of lore, it's pretty nice, and it doesn't drag or anything. It's enough to keep your interest and have you move on. The other piece of content is this update's new iteration on the Elusive Realm. It's always nice to see their new take on the Elusive Realm, especially with the fact that we have a whole new area to look at, which is pretty cool. I really like how they're continuing to update the Elusive Realm and make it feel somewhat fresh after every patch. Sure, it's a limited time game mode, but it's still a fun game mode to spend a few minutes of your time to complete. At the end of the day, it's still the Elusive Realm, so for the most part, you know the drill. get through the whole thing and claim the rewards. With all of that said, when you take a step back and look at this update overall, what is the 1.2 update really? Because as a whole, it appears that there's not a lot to do in Wuthering Waves, nor is there anything there to keep me interested in whatever's going on, or even care. I understand that everyone was excited to receive a Zhang Liao, earn a free Zhang Liao, but let's say we take out the free 5-star character from the equation. Tell me honestly, what about this update has you really excited? Was it the Moon Festival event? Was it the Wireless Character Quest? Was it even the Exploration Quest or Elusive Realm content in this patch? Do you feel like any of this delivers on your expectations? Do you even care? Even when I say it out loud, it really feels like this patch is rather bare bones. And I'm not saying that any individual piece of content is bad in this patch. In fact, individually, it's pretty alright in terms of quality. Okay, well, to me, the festival stuff is a little questionable, but I think the grind really got to me. But overall, I feel like it didn't have that punch that we had with 1.1. Worse yet, I guarantee even 1.3 is going to look better than the current 1.2 update, which is kinda sad. But perhaps we should look at this update differently. You see, I think 1.2 is quite the oddity, because it most likely has to do with the timing of its release. That is, the Moon Festival situation. It's a big deal in China, and Kuro is a Chinese game dev company, so it's important enough for them to have to celebrate in some way, shape, or form. We can look at this 1.2 patch as a dedication to the Moon Festival celebration, and while we're at it, get a free 5-star. All of this could be a moment of reprieve for the devs. I mean, that's what the Moon Festival is after all, but maybe it's not only for them. I've explained in many of my PGR videos that Kuro is unquestionably generous. They want their players to play and experience their new characters that they created almost as if they have more pride in what they do, rather than what they earn. And naturally in PGR, many of us have an easy time filling out our rosters. One of the factors that contribute to this is that we have what we generally call saving patches, where there's a patch dedicated to a character that we're able to obtain for free in between some of the big releases of some characters that we would want to roll for. For us global players, we have the power of clairvoyance, where we're able to look ahead and use these saving patches to the fullest potential, and really build up our premium currency, which would allow us to snag the next character that we would want to roll for. And for the most part, it's quite methodical because if done right, we'll be able to nearly fill out the entire PGR roster without spending a dime. These saving patches are normal to us in PGR, and as I said in one of my videos, even earning a free premium character that just debuted in the same patch is normal to us. So thinking about it now, perhaps 1.2 is a saving patch for us WoWA players. If anything, this patch is our reprieve for our wallets. I'm pretty sure Kuro recognizes this because during 1.1, not only did they drip market the 1.2 characters, but they also drip marketed the 1.3 characters later down the line. And I know for a fact that the Shorekeeper is a character that a lot of people are going to be saving up for. So yeah, if anything, 1.2 might actually be a saving patch for us. An opportunity to save for what's to come. Give us more time to build up our premium currency so we can snag that for Lova when she inevitably comes out. Besides, I'm sure if you're playing some other gacha games or other games for that matter, you'll have the opportunity to focus your energy on those games for the time being. I'm actually happy that the 1.2 patch allowed me to spend all of my energy to take my time with the Lamia patch in PGR, story and all. And you know what? I think the Lamia patch is the best PGR patch I've ever experienced. Maybe the bias exists because I waited for almost a year for this patch to come out, but really, Cradle Parade has met my expectations and even more. That and I like Lamia. What a great character. Anyway, truthfully, it's all speculation and all I'm doing right now is offering a different perspective as a PGR player. I might even be making an excuse for the devs, especially when it is lacking compared to 1.1, and I'm sure it will be lacking compared to 1.3. But at the end of the day, whatever the reason is, none of this excuses 1.2 to feel that lacking. And I'm sure the lack of excitement for this update certainly reflects that, especially when it comes to rolling. Yeah, we have one free character, but when we look at both characters in this update, in terms of design appeal, it's rather reserved compared to the others we've had in the past. And in terms of their combat effectiveness, as good as the combat may feel, it doesn't appear to be persuasive enough to roll for either of them regardless of the free character deal. And I know I didn't mention the many QOL changes Kuro has made to the game, like a buff icon. It's not something I want to talk about because that's just them improving the game itself, which is great by the way, but that's not the point. I just want to have a discussion asking, what in the world is this 1.2 update? What are we actually getting in terms of content? It's just strange and I have mixed feelings about this. What I can say for sure is that this update is nowhere near amazing, and that the overall sentiment seems to be that not a lot of people care. Though, I could be wrong about that. Sure, we can view this update as a saving patch, fine. But we are a little over a couple months in since release, and instead of stepping on the gas pedal, they decided to put some pressure on the brakes. You can do that when it's 0.5 or 0.7, heck, the competition already operates in that way. But in 0.2, where the game is still fresh from launch, there's no excuse. At this point, there should be a ton of noise for this game by using the momentum of 1.1 as a jumping off point to go loud and have us look forward to the far future. But for the time being, as of this moment, the environment feels a little subdued. Anyway, Kuro's already talked about 1.3, so let's hope Wooba makes a comeback in the next update so we can start dreading the fact that we might have to start whipping out our wallets for the Shorekeeper, and maybe Camellia in the future. Though, for now, make sure you do the festival minigame and max out that popularity level to get that free 5-star. Just a little reminder. So yeah, how do you feel about this 1.2 update? Feel free to drop a comment about what you think or why you agree or disagree with me. And please hit the like and subscribe button for more content like this. At this point, I feel like I'm making a report card of sorts for every update in Wuthering Waves. Anyway, see you in the next one. Bye!